Hey everybody, it's good to see you guys back again. Really thank you for being here. Really good job keeping up everything we've had to do in the last few days. We'll move on a little bit today. We're going to talk about something called ear training. All right, this might be something new to you guys. It may sound kind of weird, and like what does that mean? But we're going to get into it today. I admit this is a bit of a tedious subject, but I do find that it is one of the more valuable things that you can learn with a music education. If you ever heard someone say that they're tone deaf or that they can't sing, it's really just a fact that they just were not trained to develop their ear. Okay, so our ear is one of our big five senses, right? It's one we would definitely not want to live without. We use it all the time to interpret speech from other people, and that's really one of the main ways we communicate behind, our visual sense, which is what we probably use the most. But we're going to talk about the first steps in developing our ears today to listen on a more advanced level. All right, so I admit these first steps might be a little dry, but I don't want to go too deep into the hard stuff on day one because then you just want to give up. So just give this you guys a chance, all right? There are a few questions on the Padlet, and at the very end, I got a few questions for you. I'm not really grading on whether you get it right or wrong, but I'm looking that you're in the ballpark and at least trying your best. All right. If you put down gibberish, nonsense answers, I'm not going to give you credit. But I really do ask that you guys give it a chance here. And let's just, make the best out of it. Some of you may find this really interesting. Some of you probably won't, but that's okay. All right. This is something that we're just starting to develop our ears. So let's get into it.
So what is ear training anyways? Well, ear training is where we practice listening to the point where we could immediately restate something we heard musically without having to figure it out note by note. It's kind of like when you hear someone talk, right? We don't really think about someone like when they say a whole word, have to figure out each syllable, right? Somebody says a sentence, you just say the sentence once we get a decent grasp of our speech. Now, the same thing goes with music. Usually we start off with notes and then we can build it up to little patterns. And once we recognize those patterns, just like with words, we can start to actually reuse them musically to say something. All right. So, there's this common myth out there that people say that they're tone deaf. You may have heard someone say, "Oh, I'm tone deaf. I can't sing." That's a lie. It's a misnomer. A lot of people say that as a bit of an excuse, thinking that they can't do it. But the fact is, they just haven't had any ear training yet. So what we can do is a few different exercises that we're going to check out today. Now, why are we doing this? Well, as you start to get better with your hearing, now this is going to be something that's going to take us quite a few different tries, not of course in the first time we try this out, but people start to develop what they call color hearing. Now, this is not to be confused with that synesthesia stuff we talked about when we talked about timbre and tone colors a few weeks ago here. That's not the same as what we're talking about when we talk about color hearing. With synesthesia, when someone hears a sound, they say that they see a color. Their brain puts that visual in their head. When we talk about color hearing, we're just kind of comparing it, saying like, when you hear the note C, it makes you would think that it's a red sound. It doesn't make you actually physically like see red in your head. It's a little hard to confuse. Synesthesia is a very rare thing, but having some color hearing, or as other people call it, perfect pitch, is not really that rare. It's something that we can all work up to if we work at it. Now let's just talk about it. Why are we going to do this? Well, here as human beings, we're at 80 to 90% of our use of our senses is visual. All right, we're very visual people. We actually have very narrow use of our visual interpretation and perception of color, though. In comparison, our ears hear a much wider range of sounds than our eyes can see a range of color, which is really kind of strange when you think about it. But without developing our ears to hear things on a more educated level, it would be almost like seeing the world in shades of gray, like it's not color. And when you think about it that way, hopefully you guys are going to be interested here in doing some ear training with me. So we're going to hop over here and check this out. So first things first, we have to be able to match pitch, which is basically if you heard someone singing a song and you want to sing it back, can you sing it at the same pitch? If you hear a sound that may sound like, I don't know, maybe this, being able to repeat that, same sound. Now, obviously, I'm not a good singer. Some of you out there might be great singers. If you want to become a good singer, matching pitch is completely step one. All right. Now, from there, we can build up to hearing scales. Okay. Now, once we understand basically the building blocks, think about your ABCs of music. We've talked about scales a while back. Once we go from there, we can really start to decipher and pick up different patterns in the music. So first off, here's a major scale. from C to C, okay? So first off, I'm going to pick 2 pitches here. And you're going to tell me which one's higher and which one's lower. So let's take a look. So, the keyboard here, great tool. You guys can use this anytime you want, even if you don't have one, because of those websites that use the touchscreen keyboards, of course. And there's a link to one of those here on our Padlet if you like it. Obviously, I would suggest that you guys bookmark it on your computer, star it up, save it, so you can come back to it. Now, all right, I'm going to play 2 pitches here, and you tell me if the second one is higher or lower than the first one, all right? So here's our first pitch, C. I'm going to play a different pitch after it, and you tell me if it goes higher. So here's your first pitch. This is C. Did that second pitch go higher or lower than the first one? So did the second note go higher or lower? Hopefully you said higher, because that's the correct answer. All right, let's take a look at a different one here. So we'll start again on C. I'm going to repeat the C, and you tell me what the second note is. Does it go higher or lower? Now, hopefully this is coming across easy for you. That one right there, it goes lower. We're going left on the piano. Hopefully your ear will be able to catch that goes lower. Now, this should feel really like almost crazily simple for you. And that just means that your ear is, at this level. We're going to kind of go through a different series of motions here to build up our ear. Now, this is, of course, really simple stuff.
And don't go anywhere. We'll be back for part 2 in just a little bit.